I think one of the reasons for Venom's great popularity, he's so unique. There's really never been a villain like Venom. Can take over a person's personality. But we've never seen it happen visually. Another type of being literally flows over the person and changes the person.
In a multiverse of madness, one can expect all manner of things to happen. One man's decision could lead to the extinction of worlds, the death of millions, or even the rising of powerful world figures. For one man's choice can set the course of the multiverse to a different outcome, automatically creating a brand new world. This is one of those stories. A story of a man of war, but what if he had more than just military experience? What if events went differently? Imagine you had access to a spectacular military strategy game. Well, my fellow watchers, what if I told you you can? With War Planet Online. War Planet Online is a huge online strategy game with vast multiplayer. It's available on mobile, PC, Mac, the Microsoft Store, Steam, and the App Store. You can use and command real-time strategy to launch an insane warfare assault across the globe and conquer your opponents. Assign leaders to your army and launch it into war against AI and other players. Warfare is a fluid process. To withstand an attack from your enemy, construct your unique base. Take control of important cities like New York, Paris, Moscow, and Tokyo, amassing troops, tanks, and helicopters. Play with other players from around the world who can join your alliance and aid in conquering countries, or they become your following targets. Right now, my fellow watchers, War Planet Online features Rambo. To commemorate Rambo First Blood's 40th anniversary, I adore Rambo because of his character animalistic passion and gun-blazing fury. This popular icon offers countless in-game opportunities. To help players become one-man armies, John Rambo will join War Planet Online to take them through the First Blood chain events, teaching them the mysteries of combat. For all gamers, Rambo will deliver a thrilling and exciting experience for everyone. Furthermore, War Planet Online is giving away 40 vouchers. The first 40 players who download the game now and reach level 10 by November 10th will receive a $100 Amazon e-gift card. The winners will be announced on November 25th and contacted in-game. So what are you waiting for, my fellow watchers? Hurry to the video description, click the special link, or scan my QR code to get 4,000 army units, T1, and 4,000 medals to help kickstart your game. Don't miss the part on this one. You will have a chance to a $100 amazing e-gift card.
No, we do not like the vibrations.
Rambo sat in his cell, looking as depressed as ever. His unkempt body seemed to sink, and he didn't mind. It seemed as if military veterans never really considered how they dressed or looked. Nevertheless, Art Galt was more than determined to put this man in his place. Well, Teasel had brought Rambo, and despite being afraid of Rambo's military experience, Galt knew that they had to apprehend. However, it had been difficult to do anything to him because of his expert combat skills. Right now, Galt and his officers, Ward and Mitch, were concerned as they wanted to shave the man. They walked in with the straight razor and proceeded to get to work. Of course, they should have thought twice about this. Some minutes later, Rambo was attempting to climb down a hill, constantly looking back to ensure that he had successfully evaded the policemen that were looking for him. He could hear helicopter sounds and it bothered him. However, he continued to run. Turns out, when the police had attempted to shave him, he had remembered one of his torture experiences and immediately attacked them. During this attack, he injured a lot of policemen, eventually throwing off a man from his motorcycle and driving away with it. As Rambo continued to move, he could feel very tired. The helicopter was fast, approaching, and that worried him more. How was he going to evade this mess? The alien-like symbiote patiently waited underneath the grass, looking desperately for a match. It was dying, but it continued to thread slowly. It didn't know how and why it had come to this universe, but perhaps it had something to do with Spider-Man. However, it continued to move. Then, it saw a hairy-built man running into the woods. The symbiote quickly rushed towards the soldier. At last, this could be a worthy match. When the black alien-like monster clung to him, all Rambo could do was scream like he never before. As his body was wrapped in a black-like matter, he suddenly had a painful memory flash. Here he was, witnessing this scene all over again. There was the soldier, dying in pain with no legs. He was bleeding out, and his life was leaving him. His friend was dying, and there was nothing Rambo could do about it. "I will be your friend now," Rambo heard in his head. Before he knew it, he was completely transformed into a large-like monster. Galt had finally spotted the runaway prisoner. He was in his helicopter and immediately pulled out his rifle. At that moment, he suddenly remembered that he was not meant to kill off the veteran in cold blood. It was unethical and highly against their moral code of conduct. However, Galt was determined to get rid of the menace, and he wasn't going to miss this opportunity. Venom began to feel gunshots on his body. It turned to the helicopter and immediately leaped onto it. Galt was amazed when he saw a giant monster leap into the air and grab him. He would have fainted but for his years in the police workforce. Venom opened his mouth, and he was about to consume him when it heard a voice scream in his head. "Don't kill him," Rambo pleaded. Venom signed and immediately jumped off into the nearby trees. Galt in its captivity. Teasel had not believed his eyes. A monster from the blue, jumping at the helicopter and capturing his friend. At this point, Rambo didn't matter to him anymore. He had to find Galt and this monster by any means necessary. He turned and addressed his men. They were now going to return to the station and pull all of their resources together to find Galt. At this point, finding Rambo was not necessary. They had to trace this monster. Of course, he never knew that Rambo and the monster were now the same person. When Rambo awoke, he saw Galt tied up to a tree, the officer worn out and tired. But most of all, he looked very scared. "Who are you?" Galt asked. "I have no idea," Rambo answered. He wasn't lying when he gave that response. The truth was, he didn't know who he was anymore. He had tried desperately to fit into civilization life again, but he had failed miserably. And now, here he was with someone he could not explain. "We are Venom," a voice suddenly responded in Rambo's ear. "Geez," Rambo cursed. Rambo began to talk to this voice in his head, asking him what he was and what he was doing in his body. Venom responded that it did not come from this world. However, it had been brought here by a sudden shift in the multiverse, and now it had to find a host quickly. It had to attach itself to other people, or it would die. In Hope, Washington, but they were all too weak, and they died in the process. Rambo was the perfect war machine and the perfect vessel. Rambo turned to Galt and looked at him intensely. He immediately noted that Galt tried to kill him, but yet he spared his life. Rambo moved closer to Galt and noted that Galt should consider himself lucky and should never cross paths with them again. And with that, a confused Rambo ran off. Teasel continued to search files in his office. Never in his life he had seen such a creature before. But now, this creature had captured his friend. Suddenly, he thought about Rambo and realized he was still in the loose. He was about to contact the National Guard, and when a man entered the office, when Teasel interrogated him, that he was Colonel Sam Trotman, and he was responsible for training Rambo. Teasel immediately noted that Rambo wasn't his problem anymore. Right now, he was focused on finding a monster. Trotman was surprised at Teasel's reaction, but proceeded to mention that he would find Rambo on his own then. As he walked out of the office, he quietly noticed a man with a strange smile. Rambo continued to communicate with the Venom Symbiote as he walked in the woods. It had been months since his encounter with Teasel and the authorities. Venom had kept him safe all this time. As he walked, he suddenly heard a sound and halted. To his greatest surprise and amusement, Troutman came out of the darkness and saluted his friend. Rambo and Troutman continued to converse, and Rambo admitted that he had not been the same since his return from the Vietnam War. Delmar Barry's death had made everything worse for him. However, he was going to survive all of this. When Troutman asked how he was able to cope, Rambo noted that this thing inside of him helped him organize his messed up emotions. And now, with the Venom Symbiote, he could think straight and vanquish any enemy. To demonstrate his newfound abilities, Rambo's eyes turned black, and he held out his hand, which began to transform slowly with sharp claws. Before they could converse further, there was a loud noise as bullets riddled their bodies. Rambo opened his eyes, suddenly realizing his wounds, and they had healed. He turned to Troutman, only to see his lifeless body. Rambo stood up, angered to see several National Guard officers. Amongst them were Galt and Teasel, both holding guns. And with that, Rambo lost his cool. "Should I eat them?" Venom asked. "Yes," Rambo replied. 10 minutes later, the large Venom stood in the middle of a pile of dead bodies. Galt's head had been separated from his body in the ensuing battle, and Venom had to admit it was delicious. It moved closer to the bleeding Teasel, who struggled to move. Suddenly, Venom retreated into Rambo. Rambo took one good look at Teasel. This would have all been avoided, Rambo said. And with that, Rambo picked up a gun and fired at Teasel's head. He had wanted to kill him in the conventional way. All of a sudden, Rambo heard clapping and turned. Venom quickly took over and prepared to strike. A man dressed in green stepped out of the woods. He commended Venom and Rambo for killing those officers very easily. When Venom asked who the man was, the man smiled. The man introduced himself as Norman Osborn, and he was here to partner up with Rambo and Venom to lead the Dark Avengers. And that is going to be, what if Rambo had had the Venom symbiote? What if events had unfolded differently in an alternate timeline where instead Rambo had gotten the symbiote? It would have been a very interesting concept to see Sylvester Stallone's Rambo get the venomized symbiote. It's honestly something that I really wanted to see, and I just loved the concept and the idea of this video. What did you guys think of this film video? And if you guys want to see more fan fiction content, do make sure to let me know in the comments down below. With that being said, do make sure to subscribe, like, share, as only 13% of you are subscribed. It takes 3 seconds. It really helps the channel out. With that being said, thanks for tuning in and have a fantastic day.